I've been talking a lot this week on the topic of mental health and how it relates to our prison system with the staff and with the individuals who are incarcerated. And I posted last night that I had two and a half ideas. So it's two and a half because two of them are kind of related. But this isn't going to be a very long video. I just wanted to end the week with not just fussing about what the problems are, but try and offer some actual practical solutions. So these solutions that I'm going to give you today are not going to require any lobbying, any changes of any law that we have, and it won't cost any taxpayer a single dime. They're very, very simple, but they're not easy. They're not gonna be easy at all. So, the first one is district attorneys in the state of Oklahoma or in any other state are considered law enforcement. They're part of the executive branch of government. Their job or their task is to enforce laws. When you're a police officer here in the state of Oklahoma, you have to take a certain amount of continuing education hours or classes throughout the year to maintain that certification. And there's a portion of those hours that have to be in mental health. That's the way it used to be, and I know that because I was actually a police officer here in the state of Oklahoma. That certificate behind me is my certificate from CLEAT and ADA from graduating from the Peace Officer Academy. So back then, whenever I was a police officer, we had to participate in 24 hours of continuing education each year, and 8 of those hours had to be in some sort of mental health training. Um, so the first solution I wanted to introduce was I think that there should be a policy change, not a won't require a law, it would require a policy change within the District Attorneys Association to for the district attorneys to maintain their elected positions by participating in a similar, if not more or substantially more, involvement in mental health training each year because they're faced every single day with heinous circumstances. Most are the result of very unhealthy, unhealed people, mentally and emotionally, very damaged people who are committing these terrible, terrible crimes. But they need help. They need help in being able to discern those root causes of those issues rather than just crime scene photos on a page. And part of that idea also would involve if a district attorney, we could give them the option, but if the district attorney is not willing to participate in that sort of continuing education on that level, um, being able to interpret the difference between a regular, just an offender who is a danger to society and cannot be trusted in society, and then also someone who is acting out of, underlying trauma because of addiction, something like that, then they should not be immune from civil liability. The way that our system is right now is that district attorneys are not civilly liable if they were to make a decision that's considered unconstitutional. They can't be held civilly liable, and it's the same with police officers. Now, agencies like police departments can be sued and be held responsible in civil court, but district attorneys are immune from that. So the second idea that I have sort of is along the same lines, but a little bit different. Um, Correctional staff are not considered law enforcement. The Department of Corrections is actually a part of the judicial branch of government, and so they're not considered law enforcement. I know they have a badge, but correctional officers are not considered law enforcement. However, they are responsible for maintaining the safety of a facility where convicted criminals are being held, and maintaining the safety and security of those facilities. Well, they're face to face on a daily basis with individuals who are in an ongoing mental health crisis because of any number of things that could have gone on in that person's life and that incarcerated individual's life. Well, they need the same type of training. Now, that's idea number 2, is for correctional staff to participate in a number of hours of mental health training, not just in their academy, not just in, their basic academy to become a corrections officer, But throughout the year, there should be continued education as new developments occur in the treatment of mental health and de-escalation training, things like that. Correctional staff should participate in that sort of training as well to be able to know how to better handle high stress, high tense situations with people in an ongoing mental health crisis. So, kind of the that's two. So the point five of that would be, I think it would be very wise and it would be very helpful and beneficial for all parties if those correctional staff and even other staff within the facility were to participate in that mental health training alongside of the individuals who are incarcerated in the same facility. And here's why: because a person in prison is not there so that they can be punished. Their punishment was having their constitutional rights taken away, like their Fourth Amendment, and placed in a facility, taken away from their family and placed in a facility, and having certain liberties removed from their life, certain constitutional protections removed from their life. That's their punishment. They're not there so that they can. It's not like a dungeon with dungeon masters where they receive torture treatment. This We're not in the medieval days. A prison is for a place for a person to be held for a certain amount of time and receive the treatment necessary so that they can be rehabilitated and not offend again. So the idea, this line between correctional staff and the individuals who are incarcerated in the same facility, it that damages those relations and those the potential for opportunities for us to see each other as human beings, that we both have to be here. One group lives there, another group is paid to be there, but they're both involved in the same exact situations every single day, face to face with each other. What if they participated in thinking for a change, or if those classes are designed to make a significant impact on the individuals who are incarcerated there, if the state or if the agencies are going to stand behind that as their mental health treatment, or their classes for rehabilitation, then why not institute a new policy where the correctional staff for those facilities participate in those classes as well and have to maintain a certain number of hours of that training each year in order to stay employed by the state of Oklahoma. They're taxpayer funded. That's why we could change those policies. That's why we would be able to do this without a law change. So if you were to put correctional staff and the incarcerated individuals in the same room learning the same curriculum about mental health and about how about healing and things like that, they're already face to face anyway in the pods on a daily basis. They're already correctional staff, as far as not security staff, but correctional staff that's involved in the education departments that participate in the classroom environment. Why not? Why not cross build a bridge between those two groups of people that are separated by that line, that distinction line, of us and them, so that we participate in the same class in a classroom environment where I'm not your enemy and you're not my enemy. We're both having to face the same crisis at the same time together, so we might as well learn how to manage it together. Okay, so that's basically two and a half solutions that I would like to offer concerning the ongoing mental health problem in Oklahoma. And I would like to just point out, I don't think it's any coincidence that Oklahoma's prisons are among the most violent in the entire country. And at the very same time, our state is currently being investigated by the Department of Justice concerning the state's handling of what is officially a mental health crisis in the state. Now, I'm not here to bash anybody, or this isn't about fussing, this is about presenting solutions. But obviously, there is a lack of education in the area of mental health treatment, and it needs to be talked about in the correction space, because that's where all of that's the boiling point where all of this stuff is coming to the surface after in these high stress, very intense environments. So I hope that you take that in the same spirit that it is given, and I hope that that was worth the wait.